There's a piece called Inside of Who You Are, and that's about staying in touch with your child spirit. That's an important one for me. But the one that is like a mission statement, the one that says why I do what I do and what really inspires me, is How Dare I, which is a piece that is acknowledging the fact that we have an obligation as people of African heritage to make our ancestors proud, make their bloodshed or sweat and tears be for a reason.
Now, I mentioned before that, you know, you're kind of a very mellow messenger. When you think about your work, do you see yourself as being more spiritual or more political?
I think my spirituality is part of who I am, and political, I think things get labelled as political if you're just trying to make a stand for what is right. So things that, you know, bother me, then usually bother other human beings as well, and so they're labelled as political, but basically I'm just espouting words that are about humanity, about human rights, about diversity and respecting it, about respecting the environment, just all the things that humanity should be upholding. So I'm speaking to myself a lot of the time when I write something. It's not like I'm standing here with this thing of, you know, you do this and you do that. Most of the time I'm actually talking to myself in the pieces that I write and then sharing them with listeners.
How do your ideas come to you? I mean, like, are they in dreams? Are you washing the dishes and something comes to you? Do you sit down, do you read a newspaper article and you say, I need to speak about this? How does the creativity flow for you?
Most of the time what's inspired it is something going on in the world or in somebody else's world that's close to me that other people are going through. So it's usually some kind of social, political awareness. But ever so often, you know, something will just be purely an emotional response.
Okay, but now, this is a special night for a number of reasons, and one of them is the publication of your, I can't believe this is your first book. Your first book, after how many years?
Oh, I don't know.
Many years, enough years,
yeah.
enough years, okay. Poetry for Phases, Stages, and Pages. What's it about?
Most people know and have heard the poetry that I do on stage with music and with a band and, you know, as a performance. But not everything that I write, I feel, for it to be shared in that way. Some things I've written that, you know, about phases that I'm going through in my life, and I'm using the pages to sort my own head out. And other times, there's certain poems that I feel should just stay on the page. They just stay on the page. So this was an opportunity to share a more, you know, inclusive collection of my poetry. And my father, who always inspired me to write, it was a good time and a good thing to do, to kind of have a collection that was a testament to my original inspiration, which was my father. And there was another sort of push, and that was that I wanted to leave England and go to Africa to complete that circle, which is basically where I'm up to now, preparing to go to Africa. And one of the categories that I wanted to immigrate under was included what I do as a writer. So the first thing that they asked was, so where's your book? I'm like, it's a really good question, and I have one I prepared earlier.
Okay, so don't give us the whole Africa story now, because I've got a question for that. But before we get there, and I'm going to ask you this, and then it's going to be our last question. That's the cue to get ready for the soundtrack. But you're also, you know, we both are recordings. Beautiful singer, elegant, beautiful, and you have a little bit of help with the music, I understand. What's going on with the music, with the production end? Is there something you need to tell us?
Well, I've always involved music, and my journey obviously to record means I need to go into recording studios, and so I started my first album and was on to my second album, and I needed to change studios because the people that I was working with moved to Lincolnshire. So I went to a new studio and made an arrangement with an engineer, and the person that was supposed to have come didn't turn up. So they said, but we've got someone to stand in, you know, hopefully it'll be okay. So I thought, oh gosh. And in
Is that what you did? Oh gosh.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I was working on, you know, an album, and in walks the gentleman that became my husband.
And is he here?
I put him to work.
Okay, all right, give him some love right there. Okay, so he's really not just the person who like does the visuals and does the mics, you know, this is like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, he's an accomplished engineer, music producer in his own right. You know, I could talk for ages because he doesn't really drop names, but you know, he's worked with a lot of great artists, so I'm really flattered that he liked the Poppy Seed music, was inspired by it from the beginning.
You like the music, eh? Alright, okay, now this is the last question. What's next for Poppy Seed?
Collaborating with artists from all over is where I'm at now. The next album is going to be called The Cool Lab Oration, which is a play on collaboration, and I'm inviting different artists from here. And on my travels, I've just come back from New York, met some people there that I'm going to do some work with, but more importantly, on my journeys to Africa, I look forward to working with some more world musicians whose music is very, very inspiring.
And your next artistic journey, where will that take you?
First stop, South Africa.
First stop, okay. And how, you know, is that like you're going for a visit?
No, I'm making a total move to South Africa.
Okay, we always say, oh, that's okay, but we can check you out on South African TV, perhaps.
Yes, you never know.
Of course, of course, of course.
But that's also about working with young people and developing their ideas, and going in more towards the film industry. But the collaboration starts here in London, and we're hopefully going to start a bit of a piece later on, but we'll see how that goes.
Okay, all right, Poppy Seed. As you can see, we could talk much longer, but I think it would probably be good that we hear from her, okay? So we're just going to set up for 1 second. Poppy Seed, do better than that!
outstretched arms leave vulnerable, a warm bronze bosom swelled by love. Supple, lithe limbs, arranged by sculptor's hands, promise passion, whilst evoking fear.